Welcome back to the DFS Sweatshop. I am your host, the DFS Jerusalem, and you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Uh, Pretty good night tonight in the DFS Sweatshop. Didn't lose anything, didn't gain too much, but it's always a good night whenever you can make a little something, and we did just that tonight. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and jump into our Core 4 review. Every day I send out a tweet where I talk about the top 4 guys on my list that I think can return 6x value. Not a very good night for the core 4. Some late breaking news as we got closer to lock ended up making my night pretty profitable, which was good. The Chris Paul and the DeAndre Jordan stack was really good, and it worked well because we knew that Blake Griffin, closer to lock, was going to be out of the game. So I was able to pivot in some spots and actually make the night profitable. And that's key because if you're going to be a profitable defense player, you've got to be able to move and turn and take the punches and keep on rolling. Okay? So let us go ahead and jump briefly into our Core 4 review. Tonight, pretty good game from Kemba Walker. He went out and did pretty much what we expected. We were looking for more of a 48-point value from him at that 7.8K, but he got fairly close, right around 40 DraftKings points. Pretty good night from him. Nikolai Vucevic ended up scoring us 30 DraftKings points at 6.2K. That was kind of close to where we wanted to be. Pretty good game from Rodney Hood until he went down with an injury. Now, he did meet the 6x value because he was right under 5K, and he did get 30 DraftKings points before he got injured. He was at 29 DraftKings points before the half, and we really thought we were going to have a big game from him, but hamstring injury is what sidelined him for the rest of the game. So we're going to be vigilant and be wary of his next start and make sure that he's going to be available going forward. Then we get to LeBron James. Not a good game from him. We'll talk about that in a moment. Let's go ahead and jump into our feature 4 players of the night. The first play is going to be who that scored all them points over there player of the night, and this goes to none other than Sean Kilpatrick. This dude had a monster of a game, man. Almost 60 DraftKings points from him. The game did go into double overtime against the Clippers, which is why he was able to get that much in DK points, but still an awesome game from him. Came out of nowhere. This game was supposed to be a blowout. A lot of folks weren't even on this game. He came in at about 8% owned, and if you did roster him, you were atop the leaderboard. Pretty good night from Sean Kilpatrick. The next play is the how did I miss that play tonight? And this is somebody who I was on. Not a lot of other folks were on him. KCP, man. KCP had an excellent game against the Charlotte Hornets. Went out and scored upwards of 40 DraftKings points. Very nice game from him. While KCP, he plays well in streaks. So while he's shooting hot, we want to make sure that we get him in our rosters while he's playing well. The next player we're going to talk about is that one motherfucker. That one motherfucker who ruined so many lineups. I'm talking, this cat was 45% owned in most GPPs. He was in position to take down some shit tonight for you. I'm sure he was. Because you got value from the other spots, and you had this guy in your lineup to go ahead and be that anchor of the lineup. He was the anchor of my core 4, actually. Supposed to be a king. We didn't play like a king tonight. He got taken to the outhouse, to the in-house, to the hen house, to the woodshed by Giannis Antetokounmpo. He got destroyed in Milwaukee. Giannis destroyed this man. And for that tonight, King James, LeBron, you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass. At 9.6K, he robbed us with no gun. Robbed us of 9.6K in DraftKings salary. That's almost a fifth of the allotted salary that we get on DraftKings. And you took that from us and gave us 25 DraftKings points in return. What kind of mythical world do you think that shit is fucking acceptable? Completely unacceptable. Horrible game from LeBron James, and that's why tonight you a motherfucking snowflake with your snowflake ass, and we ain't gonna roster your ass again tonight. But You're one of the best players in the league. We got to give you that. And you're going to see better matchups. You're going to see better days. And we're going to be right there with you because you owe us money with your snowflake ass. Now, let's go ahead and jump into a quick recap of last night's games. There was only 6 games on the slate, so we can definitely run through those very quickly. We're going to start in Charlotte, where the Hornets were at home. At any time the Charlotte Hornets are at home, you know I love Kemba Walker. This game was actually a blowout. We saw a little skirmish between Andre Drummond and another player. He was definitely in the running to be Snowflake of the Night, but he was playing well kind of before he caused himself to be kicked out of the game. So it went to you, LeBron, with your Snowflake ass. We're going to start with the Charlotte side of the ball. Kemba Walker, man, he played 30 minutes. Of course, it was a blowout. He had 23 points, 2 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. We also saw Nick Batum scored 8 points, get 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. Pretty good game from MKG. He had 10 points to go with 4 rebounds, 1 steal, and 1 block. Actually, no, not a really good game from him. But MKG is so bad that if he scores 10 points and grabs 4 boards, you're happy. So he had about 19 DraftKings points. Fell undervalued, but I mean, he didn't really kill my lineup as much as LeBron James did. Marco Bellinelli off the bench had 11 points to go with 2 rebounds and 2 assists with a block. Pretty good game from him. Frank Kaminsky disappointed a lot of people, man. We're talking 2 rebounds, 3 assists, 3 rebounds, 2 points. Not a very good game from Frank Kaminsky. On the Detroit side of the ball, this was a stackable game, man. If you could avoid the landmine that was Andre Drummond, you probably did well. Tobias Harris in 35 minutes, he scored 24 points to go with 7 boards, 2 assists, 1 steal, and 2 blocks. Pretty good game from him. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, we talked about him earlier. He had 18 points to go with 7 rebounds, 7 assists, 1 steal, and 1 block. Andre Drummond, of course, only played 12 minutes and had 3 points and 6 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 block for him. And that definitely opened up the door for John Lure. He saw a little bit more time. He played 32 minutes, had 12 points, 7 rebounds, 1 assist, and 1 steal. Pretty good game from John Lure. The next game I'm going to get to is going to be the Clippers going to the Brooklyn to take on the Nets. Now, this was a thriller, man. It was so much drama and so much stuff happened in this show, in this game tonight. Man, it was a very, very thrilling game. We saw Austin Rivers' dad shit a brick and get thrown out of the game. Talking about the coach, Doc Rivers. And on the Brooklyn side, man, we saw decent games from a lot of players, man. Bojan Bogdanovic in 26 minutes had 14 points to go with 6 boards and 2 assists. And it's very rare that I can go through almost a whole starting lineup and talk about everybody and give them an honorable mention. But Trevor Booker with a double-double had 11 rebounds to go with 15 points, 5 assists, and 4 steals. Good game from him. Brook Lopez in 43 minutes had 27 points to go with 4 assists, 8 boards, 2 steals, and a block. And like we talked about, Sean Kilpatrick, man, he lit it the fuck up, man. Had 14 boards, 38 points, 2 assists. Pretty good game. Really good game from Sean Kilpatrick. Jason Harris off of the bench in 38 minutes had 15 points to go with a rebound, an assist, and 3 steals. Nice game from him. On the Clipper side of the ball, this was a Chris Paul game. He had an excellent game. Triple-doubled on him. Had 26 points, 13 assists, 10 boards, 2 steals, and 1 block. Pretty good game from him. DeAndre Jordan grabbed 23 boards to go with 21 points, an assist, and a block. And you can see how good, how much usage his usage goes up whenever Blake Griffin is not out of the game. He was like pretty much a late scratch, right? About 30, 45 minutes before lock, we learned that Blake Griffin was not going to be playing. Everything automatically shifted over to Chris Paul and DeAndre Jordan. Everybody was on them. Those guys were 24, 25% owned in most GPPs, and they really had good games. So a lot of you all were sharp and smart for the way you pivoted over to those guys. The coach's son in 26 minutes had 15 points to go with 2 rebounds and 2 assists. Pretty good game from him. And we thought we were going to see a lot more from Maurice Spates. Mo Buckets really didn't get into the action. Man. He only played 15 minutes and had 6 points, 5 rebounds, and 1 steal. The next game we're going to get into is going to be where the Snowflake lived, right there in Milwaukee. Let's start on the Milwaukee side of the ball. Talk about some good basketball for a change. LeBron James, killed me. But Giannis Antetokounmpo had 12 rebounds, 5 assists, 5 steals, 2 blocks to go with 34 points. Excellent game from Giannis. He balled the fuck out. Jabari Parker had a fairly decent game, 18 points to go with 4 rebounds and 1 assist for him. We saw Mike Beasley jump off of the bench in 25 minutes and have 17 points to go with 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. And some of these guys got some scrub love because the game was out of hand. Like late into the fourth quarter, the game was over. About halfway through the fourth quarter, the game was over. Greg Monroe had 14 points to go with 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals, and a block. Good game from him. On the Cleveland side, the only guy that was worth rostering was Kevin Love, and he had 13 points, 13 boards, 2 assists, and 1 steal. A pretty cavalier game for LeBron James, 22 points to go with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. That was it for him. Kyrie Irving had 20 points to go with 2 rebounds, 3 assists, and 1 steal. Not much we saw off of the Cleveland bench. The next game I'm going to get into is the New Orleans Pelicans at home against the LA Lakers. They blew them out, but Anthony Davis had a whale of a game. This dude, he went absolutely ham. Let his nuts hang on him. I'm talking about 41 points, 16 boards, 4 steals, 2 blocks, 3 assists. This dude is for real, man. He had an excellent game against the LA Lakers. Drew Holiday, in 30 minutes, he had 22 points to go with 2 rebounds, 5 assists, and 1 steal for him. We also saw a pretty good game from Omar Ashik. Where'd that come from? 10 points, 11 boards, an assist, a steal, and a block. Pretty good game from him. The next game was kind of a trap. It was the San Antonio Spurs going to Orlando to take on the Magic. And it wasn't a very good game from anyone really to speak of, man. We had a guy that was in the core four. Vucevic, he came off of the bench and had a pretty decent game. In 24 minutes, he did have a double-double, 12 points to go with 10 boards, 2 steals, and a block. We also saw a fairly decent game from Serge Ibaka, 18 points, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals for him. Elfrid Payton had 10 points to go with 3 rebounds, 4 assists, 3 steals, and a block. That was pretty solid for him. So we saw some pretty decent games on Orlando's side. They actually won the game, something that we didn't think was going to happen anyway. A lot of us thought it was going to be a blowout, but this Spurs team is very beatable. They are very beatable, and I'm not as scared of them as I was last year. I can definitely target these guys. On the Spurs side, Kawhi Leonard underwhelmed in 32 minutes, had 21 points to go with 2 rebounds and 2 steals for him. We saw Manu Ginobili had 13 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and 2 steals. If you had him on your roster, that was definitely a bargain play for you. LaMarcus Aldridge had a fairly decent game, 16 points, 6 boards, 3 assists, and 1 block. Now, the last game on the slate was the Utah Jazz blowing out the Houston Rockets. Many of you, if you were smart, you stayed away from James Harden. You didn't have him anywhere. I took a chance on him in one lineup, a dollar entry. I kind of had an idea he wasn't going to have a good game, but just because it's James Harden, you always want to have him in at least one lineup in case he goes off. He did not do that tonight. Did not make value. James Harden, that is. In 35 minutes, he had 26 points, 5 boards, 7 assists, and 2 steals. Eric Gordon was actually the play in this game. He had 24 points. We got 2 rebounds and 1 assist. We saw Sam Decker for 27 minutes. He had 10 points and 6 boards. Trevor Ariza, Ryan Anderson, and Clint Capella were all underwhelmed in their minutes on the floor. Not a good game for the Houston Rockets. On the Utah side of the ball, saw a really nice game from Gordon Hayward. He had 31 points to go with 5 rebounds and 7 assists. Rudy Gobert doubled on him at 14 to go with 3 blocks and 16 points. Rodney Hood, man, he got hurt like we talked about earlier, right starting of the third quarter, so we didn't see him return at all. Trey Lyles in 23 minutes had 13 points to go with 4 rebounds, 1 assist. Dante Exum only had 8 minutes. We cannot ever roster him. He is done. He is dead to me. He is definitely dead to me. Shelvin Mack saw most of the backup point guard minutes there. He had 20 minutes. He had 9 points, 2 assists, and 1 steal. George Hill really underwhelmed. As soon as his price went up, George Hill's price went up to $7K, and he shit the bed, man. Horrible game from George Hill. In 31 minutes, he had 8 points to go with 1 rebound, 4 assists, and 1 steal. I did not see that coming. I thought he would be able to play well against Patrick Beverley, but that was not the truth. And Patrick Beverley didn't play well either, so Not a very good game to roster cats in outside of Gordon Hayward and Rudy Gobert. Now, let us go ahead and take a quick look at tomorrow's uh, 10-game slate. It is a monster slate. We're going to jump into the point totals there and see what we have in store for tomorrow. All right? Must forgive me, I am working with some new apparatus. And we've got a really nice 10-game slate for tomorrow. And this might be a good time to go ahead and let you know that on December 1st, we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna be launching a website as well as the Facebook page, the new Twitter page. It's gonna be a lot of exciting stuff we're gonna be doing. And the goal is to get you more involved in the DFS sweatshop and in daily fantasy sports in general. There's going to be spreadsheets emailed out. We're going to have exclusive content that we're going to be dropping for the subscribers. If you've been down since day one, you know you're good, you're already in. Anybody new, there is going to be a subscription fee, but it's definitely going to be well worth the price of admission. So tomorrow, let's go ahead and start. First game we're going to talk about is going to be the Sacramento Kings at the Philadelphia 76ers. This is a 206 point total with Philadelphia giving up 5 points to the Sacramento Kings. I don't know how Philadelphia 76ers can give anybody points, but they're giving up points to the Sacramento Kings. And I really like a lot of plays in this game. I like a lot of plays in this game. Anytime you can get Boogie on an early slate, you know his ownership is going to be increased, and it is going to go up. A lot of people are going to be on Boogie because it's the earlier games. So I do like him tomorrow. Now we have him going against Joel Embiid. We got word that Joel Embiid and Boogie are going to be playing. And Okafor are going to be playing at the same time tomorrow. I've never seen how that works. I think either way, Boogie's going to be able to have a really good game. We've got Jared Bayless. I believe he's questionable. We're gonna have to find out exactly what his playing status is gonna be going into tomorrow. If he doesn't play, I definitely like Sergio Rodriguez as a cheap punt option at point guard. We can definitely go there for him. And what we're doing now, we go over the point total, and we're just developing a player pool in our heads, because this is going to help us when we come up with our core fours tomorrow. Like I said, when it comes to your core four, you stick to it. Don't let anything take you too far from your core. Also, Rudy Gay is going to be a nice play in this game too. Now we saw a really good game from Covington last time out. I'm not sure he's going to be able to keep that production up. I mean, he was shooting extremely well from three-point range in that game, and he's going to need to do that in order to keep up that scoring explosion that he's been having. I wouldn't too much rely on that. So if I had to roster anybody from the Sacramento side, it would be Rudy Gay, it would be Cousins, and I kind of like Darren Collison tomorrow against that Philadelphia perimeter defense. On the Philadelphia side, Embiid is definitely in play because he's going to be going up against Costa Kufis and Willie Cauley-Stein, which he should definitely have his way with those guys. I think they kind of want to put Okafor on Boogie just so they don't have to put Embiid on Boogie. You would rather Okafor catch them 2 early fouls and bring in Rashawn Holmes than to have Embiid catch those 2 early fouls. Embiid is still on the 24-minute restriction. Okafor is not. You can vary out the pros and cons for that yourself, but I still would like Embiid more of a play when it comes down to 2 of those guys. The next game I'm going to talk about is going to be the Detroit Pistons in the second leg of a back-to-back going against the Boston Celtics. Now, this is a 197 point total, which is a very low point total. Very low point total, especially when the Boston Celtics are involved. So the point differential is -8 in favor of the Boston Celtics. They are at home. So you know how I feel. Whenever the Celtics are on the slate, I like to attack them rebounding. They are one of the worst rebounding teams in the league. Al Horford is going to be back for this game. He definitely practiced yesterday, so he's going to be back for this game. I think that we can look to the Detroit Wings again. We talked about them last night out. against the Charlotte Hornets that were kind of depleted in the front court. We can look at the Detroit Wings to rebound very well in this game, and that leads me to like Tobias Harris again. I like Tobias Harris again tomorrow. Um, he would probably be the only guy from the Detroit side that I would roster with confidence. Not the only guy I would roster, the only one I would roster with complete confidence would be Tobias Harris tomorrow. I really like him. On the Boston side, I think Jay Crowder is going to be in play. I think Al Horford is in play. I also think Isaiah Thomas and maybe Avery Bradley is going to be in play. Like this is a stackable game. Now we don't have to go that route because the point total is so low. It's 197 point total on a 10-game slate. You don't have to stack anybody, but I think you can pick and choose who you like to have off of the Boston side. The cheaper guys, maybe a Jay Crowder, maybe if you want to pay down a little bit at the shooting guard spot to get Avery Bradley, I think that's definitely a smart move. Remember, it's 197 point total, so we don't have to get too cute with this game. The next game is going to be the Memphis Grizzlies traveling to the Toronto Raptors. This is another point total. This is actually the second lowest point total on the slate. 195.5 is the number. It's an 11.5 point differential with Toronto being the beneficiary. Toronto is giving up 11.5 points to the Memphis Grizzlies. This game just screams stay away from me. In a blowout, in a low point total blowout, that means the stars in the game of the team that's going to be blowing it out don't have to do much in order to win the game. So this is a complete stay away from me. I'm not messing with this game when it comes to the Toronto side. The only thing I might do is we look at how the value opens up throughout the day, see which Memphis players are going to be starting, and we can definitely cherry pick perimeter players from the Memphis side. We know Mike Conley's going to be out for an extended period of time. That's going to bring up the Andersons. That's going to bring up a couple other guys off of the Memphis Grizzly bench. We can look to those guys if we need salary savings to pay up for other studs. Remember, this is a 10-game slate, so we've got to get some really good guys in our lineups. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the LA Lakers traveling to Chicago. This is a 212 point total with Chicago giving up 10 points to the LA Lakers. This is definitely a stackable game. I love Jimmy Butler in this game. This game just screams. This slate actually just screams Butler. I love Butler in this spot. I kind of like Taj Gibson in this spot going up against Mozgov. Mozgov is a little slower, not as fleet of foot as Taj Gibson, so I can see him getting to the loose balls faster, getting rebounds better. So I definitely like Taj in this game. Not too big on Dwayne Wade, but I do think that Rajon Rondo is going to be intriguing in this game. We need to get some news on the Lakers side when it comes to Julius Randle and if he's going to be ready to go and how he feels about playing. We also know that D'Angelo Russell is going to be out for an extended period. That opens up the door to the likes of Jose Calderon as well as Jordan Clarkson, who did not have a good game out last time. You can always look to Lou Williams off of the bench if you like that just scoring with no peripherals. But I don't see him. If Lou Williams ain't dropping 40, I don't need him. I just don't, because he's not going to do anything else. The next game we're going to get into is going to be the New York Knicks, my New York Knicks, going to Minnesota, taking on the Timberwolves. This is a very sexy game because it's a 211 point total with the New York Knicks receiving 3.5 points. So the Minnesota Timberwolves are giving up 3.5 points. Now, we know how bad the Knicks have been against shooting guards this year. We also know how good Zach LaVine has been in spots and how he is on a streak right now of pretty decent games. So I like Zach LaVine in this game. I also like Andrew Wiggins, because if he's going to see middle defense, he's going to be able to go off. So I really feel like this is a stackable game. We can go LaVine. We can go Derrick Rose going up against Rubio defense. We can definitely go Porzingis in this game. And Karl Anthony Towns is not going to be a bad play either. The best thing about this game is that not only is it a 211.5 point total, it's only a -3.5. So, and that goes to the home team. So this game could definitely go down to the wire. We could see a full allotment in the minutes of all the players. So I really like a lot about this game. Gorgie Jang is also going to be a decent play in this game because the Knicks are not as a good rebounding team. So we can definitely target the Knicks on from a rebounding perspective with Gorgie Jang and or Karl Anthony Towns. The next game we're going to get to is going to be the Washington Wizards traveling to Oklahoma City to take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. Now, Russ is high priced. Russ is very high priced. And if I had to choose between Russell Westbrook and John Wall in Oklahoma City, I would go John Wall all day. I love John Wall on the slate. You know how I feel about paying that price for studs, especially on 10-game slates, man. There's just so many other areas where you could find value that you can't get if you lock yourself into a small amount of salary once you roster a guy that's going to take better than 20% of your complete salary in one click of a button. And that's Russell Westbrook, so he's going to be a complete fade for me tomorrow. He's averaging a triple-double, coming off a really great game. This is an awesome letdown spot for a lot of guys who like to roster Russell Westbrook at that high price. 212 point total, -6. The game's going to be fairly close. Markieff Morris is dead to me. I like Otto Porter in this game. I like John Wall, as I stated. And I also like Vic Oladipo. I like Vic Oladipo in this game. I've got to get exposure to that 12.5K salary somewhere in Russell Westbrook, and I think that Oladipo is going to be a nice spot. We also need to look at Cantor, because Cantor had a really good game last time out. These teams just played each other not too long ago. I mean, these teams just played very similar squads not too long ago. Oklahoma City, what they did to the Knicks was really it was a really good game they had, especially off of the bench. We saw Enes Kanter really get into the action, have a great game, and also Steven Adams had a really great game. And on the Washington side, we saw a great game from John Wall. He had about 50 DraftKings points his last time out. So I think there's a lot of goodness in this game. This is definitely a game I'm going to be targeting. The next game is the lowest point total on the slate, and I promise you, I will not roster anyone from either side of the ball. This is the San Antonio Spurs going to Dallas to take on the Mavericks. It's a 192 point total. I'm not messing with any of this. This is a back-to-back, so we're going to get popped in some way. -9 in favor of San Antonio. I'm giving Dallas 9 points, even though Dallas is at home. I don't want any part of this game at all. I want nothing to do with this game. Next game is going to be the Miami Heat traveling to Denver to take on the Nuggets. Now, this is a chance we're going to get to roster the Jamal Murrays and the Wilson Chandlers again. You can do it. I'm not. It's a 203.5 point total, with Denver, the home favorite, giving up 5 points to the Miami Heat. If I were going to go anywhere on the Denver side, I would go bigs. I would roster Jokic or Nurkic. I think it's going to be more of a Jokic game because Hassan Whiteside is very active in the low post, and I can definitely see Nurkic picking up 2 quick early fouls and not being there deep into the first half. So I do like Jokic in this game. I also love Whiteside. Anytime you get a chance to roster a guy at under 9K that is that good and can do that much, you've got something going there. I also like Goran Dragic. He had a pretty good game out. Showed that his elbow injury is not as big a deal as we were trying to make it. So I definitely like Goran Dragic. We don't know if we're going to be getting a couple guys back. The Justice Winslow, we don't know if he's going to be back. Tyler Johnson, we need to check on that, make sure he's going to be available. But if I had to roster anybody on the Miami side of the ball, it would be Goran Dragic, it would be Whiteside, and I like Jokic on the other side. Wilson Chandler is intriguing. I just don't see, in this 203 point total, how he's gonna, jump off of the bench and be needed to be that scoring punch. So I'm not going to be going very much Wilson Chandler. I may have him in some spots, but he's not going to be a part of my main player pool. Moutier, don't like him very much. Jameer Nelson, no, I don't like him very much against Dragic. Dragic is actually a pretty good on-ball defender, and Miami plays pretty good team defense against point guards, so I wouldn't be attacking Miami on the perimeter in this game. The next game we're going to get into is the Atlanta Hawks going to Phoenix to take on the Suns. This is a 208.5 point total, with the Hawks giving up 6 points. So Phoenix is going to be a home dog. That immediately makes me check to the pace of the game. Who is the best player on the floor for both teams? And quite frankly, right now, I'm going to say that's Eric Bledsoe. Eric Bledsoe is going to dictate the pace of this game. So I definitely like him tomorrow. Booker doesn't do enough in the peripherals for me to really give him consideration where he's at. Um, Tyson Chandler, maybe a decent play, but against Dwight Howard, I don't want to chance that. Actually, I do like Dwight Howard in this game on the other side of the ball. Uh, Tyson Chandler is a very good rebounder, but I just think Dwight Howard is gonna go out and have a good game. So I like Dwight Howard tomorrow. Paul Millsap is actually going to be somebody I'll be looking at as well. Dennis Schroeder against the perimeter defense of the Phoenix Suns is not something that I really want to exploit too much. So you won't see me with very much Dennis Schroeder. If I had to roster anybody on the Phoenix side, it would be definitely Eric Bledsoe, with some consideration to PJ Tucker for the cheap, because we know that TJ Warren may be out of this game. On the Atlanta side, I love Millsap. I think Millsap's going to be a really good play. A lot of people are not going to be on him because he's been kind of underwhelming. So a lot of people are not going to be on Paul Millsap, so I think he's going to be a good play. The next game we're going to get into is the highest point total on the slate. It is the Portland Trail Blazers at home in a 215 point total against the Indiana Pacers. It is a -8 in favor of Portland. They are giving up 8 points to the Indiana Pacers. This game screams Dame game. He's at home. He's going against Jeff Teague. Jeff Teague sucks at playing defense. You're going to see a better defensive game at the shooting guard position for Indiana. So I don't see CJ McCollum going completely off. We haven't had an offensive explosion from Dame in quite a few games. I love Dame Lillard tomorrow. I'm gonna tell you right now, he's gonna be a part of my core four. He's gonna give you that late night hammer effect. He's not gonna be as highly owned because he's in the later games, and people love to see their points in the early games. So I definitely like Dame Lillard tomorrow. I think we can go Miles Plumlee in this game against Turner. I like Plumlee a lot in this game. He's a little cheaper than Turner, so I like him. On the other side of the ball, we've got to give consideration to Monte Ellis. Monte Ellis is going to be going up against CJ McCollum defense. There's no defense at all. So Ellis is going to be a good play tomorrow, I believe, as well as Thad Young. I like Thad Young in this game too. I think he can grab some rebounds. The Portland wing guys aren't very good rebounds. When you talk about Maurice Harkless, when the second team comes out, you talk about Evan Turners. These guys are not bangers and really good rebounders. So I think that, you're going to see some good play from Miles Turner, but I really think that Thad Young is going to be the guy to go in and dig out a double-double on this Portland team. And I don't think it's going to be the blowout or the 8-point. I think I would bet the over, and I would bet I would take the points if I was betting in this game between the two teams. So I do like a lot of plays from the Indiana side and Portland side. I think it's going to be a very good game, probably one of the most entertaining games of the night, but I'm calling it tomorrow. It is definitely a Dame game. Now that we've gone over the point totals, we talked about the feature for players, we've done everything we do in the sweatshop. Just want to thank you all for coming along with me, man. And if you are a family member or subscriber, stay in. No worries. It's all on me. I got you. Pretty good day in the sweatshop like we talked about. We're going to have an even better day tomorrow. This has been your DFS Jerusalem. And, of course, you can follow me on Twitter at DFS Jerusalem. Signing off. And remember, in the DFS sweatshop, there's the one thing that we do. We always keep it 300.